Hi, and good afternoon, everyone. So, thank you for willing to join our event regarding domestic violence against men. I am Tegudish Mukri, your host for today, and Kuben.
I am Govindan Ramesh, your host also for today.
Yeah, I'm Medium. So for this event, I focus on the recording one. So I pass the mic to Junhong.
So hi, I'm Junho. So in this event, my role is technical support to support when there's something happen in this event. So now I pass the mic to our last member, Yong Chen.
Hi everyone, I'm Yong Chen and I am a part of the organization of this event. I will mainly let you know about the domestic violence quiz. And I'll pass this to Tengku.
Okay, thank you, Young Chen. So throughout the session, we are going to review on the unequal treatment and perception towards men in domestic violence. So first of all, what is domestic violence? So domestic violence extends far beyond physical abuse. It's a pattern of behavior that involves violence or other abuse by one partner against another in a domestic settings, including but not limited to spouses, ex-spouses, boyfriends, and girlfriends. So one of the most dangerous and underreported crimes is domestic violence against men. It is often called the silent crime because men are too ashamed to report it. So we have all heard about the domestic violence against women, but few people know men are also victims. So men are often overlooked as victims of domestic violence and are sometimes even stereotyped as the abusers. When you first think about the phrase domestic violence, it is easy to imagine a man being abused towards his wife or girlfriend, but men can also be victim of abuse. So we never imagine men huddled in a safe place because they're scared of their partners. But the sad truth is that domestic violence towards men happens all too often. So as we progress throughout the concept of domestic violence, our good friend Kuben will be the second host in explaining about how domestic violence exists among men.
Thank you,
I'll pass the mic
Danish.
to Kuben.
Thank you, Danish. Hi there. Good afternoon, everyone. As Danish has mentioned the suffering of men as the victim of domestic violence, I believe that the most of you are wondering on what are the common forms of abuse towards men. The most common forms of female abuse towards men are humiliation, family and social isolation, economic abuse, unfounded jealousy, and emotional interference. Also, sometimes of divorce settlements can be a kind of psychological violence for men, especially when they are experience difficulty in maintaining emotional ties with the children. It is a very important to underline the fact that the gender-based violence is overwhelmingly done to women. When talking about the gender-based violence against men, we look at the numerous factors that add up to the consequences of inequalities based to the interpretations of human sexes and should not minimize the number that affects women. It is also important to the point that our putting a light on the cases in which means affected by this kind of violence does not mean the violence that are routinely done to the woman are less alarming. Next, our guest, Mr. Swarup will continue the next session. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Nice
Yes,
to
sir.
see you all, guys. Okay. And you guys in Malaysia, I am in India, Delhi, and that is the technology we can use. Share each our
Yeah, yeah.
knowledge. Okay, just I'll start my presentation, say PPT, share screen. Just
Okay.
okay. Good. So basically, I am a co-founder of Safe Family Foundation and Main Welfare Trust of India. we are running helpline, counseling, weekly meetings for the lot of abused and distressed men. Normally, government does not have such type of facility. This is a self-supported, self-volunteer people. People may be students, interns, working in different fields. Though domestic violence, this issue can be discussed in maybe week or months, but I will try to give some perspectives from our experience. As you guys are saying, there is a lot of myth had been created, or I can say false narrative had been created that domestic violence is a gender issue. And accordingly, if you see internationally also, many countries accept it is a gender violence, means irrespective of gender. And I'm happy to see your Malaysian laws that is gender neutral. They use the word person, but there are many countries who does not recognize domestic violence can be happen to the men or woman by woman or woman to children. So let's see, let's start without wasting much time because we had limited time. So these are the things I am just run through because that is not a, everybody knows what is the definition of the domestic violence and what is the, when it occurs, you already explained, so I am not going to. This is basically if you are a domestic relationship with anyone, any type of violence, economical, sexual, that I will come through in the later stage. So basically, domestic violence categorized in five main things. Physical abuse, kicking, slapping, hitting, punching, pushing, this is common. Emotional abuse, jealousy, anger, intimidation, controlling, neglect, humiliation, threats, isolation, verbal abuse. Social abuse, being stopped from meeting or seeing friends or family, not allowed to leave home or being stabbed. Sexual abuse, forcing and crossing sexual acts and having sex without consent. A lot of times you may not be feel having a sexual relationship, but your partner is wanted and you have to oblige that. And if continues, maybe suppose one time is okay, 2 times, 3 times, multiple times demand, which is maybe you are not feeling enjoyable. So that is also a sexual abuse. Economical abuse, controlling access to the money and other resources, forced to live without money, demanding, that I will cover in the next slides also. Now let's concentrate this. This is a very important thing. The myth of DP, as I said, normally people try to portray all the social activists, researchers, it's a gender issue, but it is not. All gender are victim or can be perpetrator. Wherever the study and researches has been made, where the man and woman has been questioned, it is more or less same. Both responses are coming same. Another myth, it happens in working or very poor families. But the reality is, it happens in all societies. Rich, poor, religion, caste does not matter. Another myth is, who is doing the domestic violence, he is being out of control. If that is the case, then he should have done the violence in office with the bosses or maybe in the road. He does not do. So it is a myth. And the most thing, people think, whatever these abuses is maybe bearable and not serious, else victim would not have left the place or home. Fact is, people continue living in an abusive relationship for various social, family, or financial reasons. Another myth people normally say, you had a love relationship, means love marriage, not like arranged marriage, then the domestic violence will not be there because the opposite partner is loving and caring you. But the fact what you witness, even the most loving and caring relationship also, huge domestic violence has been done. And the biggest myth, even those countries having the law, they say men cannot be a victim of domestic violence. Whereas the various studies has been done, it shows out of 5 men, 3 men face the various type of domestic violence. Let it be physical, emotional, economical, sexual, all type of violence. Out of 5, 3 men also face. Another myth, this domestic violence is applicable only to blood and marriage relations. But people do not know, even under the law and the domestic violence, even your maid servants, your drivers, if they are staying with you, if you do any type of abuse to them, that also comes under ambit of domestic violence. Many times people will justify, no, victim, who was the victim? He or she has provoked the perpetrator. But the reality is, any provocation does not justify a criminal act, because domestic violence is a civil cum criminal act. It consequences a lot of criminal laws in different countries in different way. Another perception, fathers are the main abuser of children in case of domestic violence. But the fact is, children are victim of domestic violence by either partners, mother, father, or maybe elders, whoever is there. From my experience, I can say, I had been abused hardly by my father, but I used to get abused every day from my mother. But that does not we recognize as an abuse, which I say, because we consider linked to that is a love and caring. Many people face extreme domestic violence from their mothers or female members from there, but it has not recognized or taken seriously. Husband sexually abuse wife. It is a common myth. It is the husband who only sexually abuse the wife. But the fact is, when you will get married, you will understand. You will come hard from your office. You don't want to have any sexual act. It is your wife who will force you. Maybe 1 time, 2 times. You say, no, I don't want further. She will insist you for 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. These are the sexual abuse, but people do not recognize. It makes a lot of impact on man's life, his mental and social health. Another myth, not giving money for household is economical abuse. Suppose your partner seek for money, you are not giving, it is considered abuse. But the fact is, if your partner is demanding excessive money or spending too much, this is also domestic violence. But is hardly anybody recognize that. As I say, another, it is a little repetition. Mother is all about love and care. So whatever abuse has been done by mothers, normally we ignore, but it gives a very, very dangerous impact on the child. In different seminars, different lawmaking process, I asked, so many money you spend, so many awareness you had created, so many law you had created, still you people are crying domestic violence is increasing. Why? When a child born, he does not come with all the type of like verbal abuse, beating, all these things. He don't know. He's a clear mind. When he is bring up by his mother or parents, what do you understand? Suppose my mother feel I have done something wrong, she had the right to beat me, abuse me, or bully me. This I learned from my childhood. Same thing reflects when a child became adult or go to the school. What do you think? This person or this partner has done something wrong, which he or she should not be. So I have right to abuse him or her. So basically the generations of domestic violence conception starts from the child abuse. If you see those countries having the maximum child abuse, same country will be having the maximum domestic violence and extreme heinous crime too. So it is a challenge. Instead of concentrating domestic violence of the adult relationship, first you have to stop the child abuse and domestic violence on child. If you cannot do, you make any law, you make hundreds of seminars, you billions of dollars you spend, but your root cause is the child abuse. And here the role of father, mother are more, and the mother, whatever abuses is going, unfortunately, we neglect, we consider it as a love and care. So it is a challenge and balance sometime in how to control the indiscipline and how to teach your child from the start itself. Domestic violence is a crime, whoever may be, it is not acceptable. But when you yourself doing the child abuse and doing the domestic violence on the child and expecting that society is a domestic violence free, I doubt, and I question to many about this thought. Strict fathers are perpetrated. Normally fathers will be strict. So it is a perception fathers as the abusers. But people do not know. A father can be 10 teachers. What your 10 teachers can teach you, one father can teach you 10 times, 20 times. Your first learning is from your father. And every learning earned by hard way or difficult way is not easy. So some strictness and knowledge sharing by the fathers should not be considered as a domestic violence. It is the welfare of the child or you, which has been wrongly portrayed by maximum countries. Another thing, those pupils are doing the household work, they are subject to the domestic violence. It is a myth. Then those pupils are working outside the home. Are not they got abused in the outside world? Doing the household work is your own responsibility. Somebody asking you to do the household work or you are neglecting household work, that cannot be considered as a domestic violence. But unfortunately, of late, it has been portrayed like that. If you are doing household work, like cooking, utensils, all these things is a domestic violence. And outside home, somebody carrying 100 kg material on his own, pulling rickshaws, that is not abuse. So this is the reality. Household work is not domestic violence. Now, there are many causes. But what we see from our different of people call us, the main cause, no fear of law. Whichever the country, man or woman, who is on the impression law cannot do anything, they are doing the most maximum domestic violence because they don't have any fear of law. And in some country, there is no law itself. Second thing, absence of father figure. Here, father is not like a exact father. Father figure means in your domestic house, earlier normally used to happen, there will be some head of the family, maybe our grandparents or somebody. So anything, any disputes comes, he or she used to protect everyone that nobody abuses others, resolve the disputes. Unfortunately, today's generation, we don't have such type of ideal in our home. We hardly meet our grandparents. So that is the absence of any father figure is the one of the main cause of domestic violence is increasing. Third, we have seen unwanted birth of child. Though it is now reducing, but still is continuing, maybe no planning of the child, unfortunately child born, and that creates a rift between the families. And that creates a lot of abuse with others, blaming each others, and that becomes a very big, sometimes heinous crime also, including the killing of the child too. One of the main reasons when we analyze, when the victim calls us, we see change in expectations. We have seen many people come to us, sir, we are dating each other for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. After that, we got married, and after marriage, change. She changed. Because after marriage, suddenly, a non-married woman, after marriage, her expectation, role, attitude, totally changed. And that is the fact. There will be a lot of comedies and jokes, but this is the reality. The man does not any clue. I know you 6, 7 years. What happened after marriage suddenly changed? Your expectation change, your working style change, your talking style change. So this is the one of the biggest cause we have seen, especially after marriage, increasing of domestic violence. Now, excuses, there will be a lot of excuses also given, like financial pressure on family causing stress. That is not a justification. This is an excuse. Drug, alcohol abuse by one or more family members. These are excuses. Alcohol, even some prime minister also take. The biggest kind, maybe social activists, I am not taking name, a lot of social activists creating awareness, taking drugs and alcohols. That does not mean they do the abuse. So these are the excuses. Typical and acceptable female or male behavior, like a stereotype. Normally in India, you say, oh, she is a woman, nah, leave it. Why? Crime is a crime. Here we have seen women are beating, slapping the men on the road. From where she learned? First, there is no fear of law, absence of any father figure to teach them what is right and wrong, and they become violent even in the road also. So the typical behavior and acceptable, okay, if a woman does the domestic violence, it is accepted, don't worry, men does not suffer, it's not like that. And the most thing, culturally acceptable behaviors. In today's world, when we say marriage or living is a equal partnership, still many countries, the burden of the protector and provider of the family is on the head of men. Women earn lakhs of rupees also, but they are not supposed to spend a single penny for the household. That is the cultural behaviors. Many countries have. But I think Malaysia is better. There I see the woman also taking care of the expenses of the boys, or mutually they shared even the house rents also, I have seen. But many countries does not have, and that creates the excuses. So next we will go to, now see, in your life nearby you will feel people, suddenly your friends or somebody. How to identify somebody is facing the domestic violence? Because that person is not going to speak up. So these are the some things you can go through later. I'll send you, I'll not go in details. But basically some behavior change, his eating habit get changed, his sleeping cycle get changed. In night he will not sleep. He will call you night 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. These are the signs that he is subject to a domestic violence and he has no recourses. They will go for depression, low esteem. They will, if they have the child, they will be more overprotective about the child. They will not allow their children to go to late night or anywhere to friend's house. There will be different type of things are coming. So when you identify such person, reach to my sound is coming. It got sun mode, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the try to identify if anybody of in your nearby area, because it has a very different type of extreme situation. I'll come in later what happened when a person facing the domestic violence does not get help, resource or care. Now see, there are many countries having domestic violence law. Your country also have, my country also have. Overall, the basic relief when a person faces the domestic violence, what are the relief he can take? First is protection order. If somebody is facing domestic violence, he approaches their necessary courts or maybe law authority or police, they get a protection order so that the opposite person who is doing the domestic violence should not have the access. Many countries have shelter homes. Some country government run, some country that shelter home expenses is paid by the opposite party who is the accused. Health or medical care, if any health issue he is developed or any medical problem he has, mental as well as physical, he can get. Counseling of victims. Lot of countries, and it should be the must in every country, counseling is the first thing. The mistake we have done, have not counseled our child, we beat them, we abuse them, but at least now, at least counsel them. Okay, whatever you faced as a child, whatever you learned as a child is wrong. Who will counsel that? So counseling of the victim as well as the abuser is very much important. Then many countries is having different type of criminal laws. After investigations, he can be prosecuted for the various type of criminal law like assault, sexual assault, maybe whatever, depending on the country's laws, it is linked with that. India as well as other country also. Child custody, a lot of time you might be denied the child custody, or maybe child will be given to a custody depending on the situations. Monetary relief, residence order, and punishment for breach of any above order. Suppose any order has been given, if you breach that, it is a criminal act in many countries. So these are the very things I briefed. Now this domestic violence law, many countries has, when it became unfair. Everybody agree there should be law, Domestic violence is gender not specific. But those countries following gender specific law, like India, Bangladesh, and few countries I know, there comes the unfairness. It is like in a football match, there is no referee. One party having the red card, whenever he raises the red card, you are out from the field, and you don't have a yellow card to protect. Then there is a disharmony and the increase in domestic violence. So law should not be gender specific. If it is a gender specific, it is going to be unfair. Assumption based evidence. Some country follows the verbal word. I said, Mr. Wong beat me. Law considered that I am saying the truth. No evidence. Young submitted this presentation. She said there was no beating. Still, law considered what I said to be considered as a truth. What Young will produce, it is a later. That is the unfairness. You cannot trust any, because in India there is a person called Raja Harishchandra. Normally I use that word. Raja Harishchandra, he never lied in his life. So we cannot expect that we all are born from Raja Harishchandra family that never lie. So this assumption based evidence, when comes in the law, it became unfair. Then add interim or ex parte order. Like I file a case, I get the order against Young, and Young does not know even what he has done. What is the allegations? I take an ex parte order and go tell to Young, okay, you go out from the home. That is the unfairness. At least you should first heard both the party, then you decide what order has to be given. Why ex parte, add him interim or ex parte? Assumption of guilt. Many countries having the Evidence Act, like in India 114A and many countries, assumption. It is the man has done the domestic violence because he is having the more power. Wherever countries such type of assumption based guilt is there, unfairness is coming. And 70% of the country I know is there is no investigations, very poor investigations, whatever has complained, and corruption also is there. Who is having the more money, he can get the order against the other partner. No systematic investigation set up. This I already explained. Assumption, any party's submission as gossip truth. Monetary relief to defaulting party. See, everybody wants money. So when you know, if I file a case, I get like 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees or $1 million, definitely I will be interested to do that. It is easy money. For a crime, you have to punish, not to get the money. If I have done anything wrong, you hang me after trial conviction. But why you expect money from me? And that is the became unfairness in the law. Then delayed process and justice. Some cases we see 7 years, 10 years, case is going on. What is this? Simple domestic violence case is going on 7 years, 10 years. And for the men, if you are a father, you are going to be a very tough time, denial of custody, even visitation to your child. Those countries having such type of laws, there is the unfairness and there is the more fight and the more violence. A lot of cases when the marriage failed or relationship failed, woman used the child as a pawn to get monetary benefits. Because as a man, neither you are having the access of the child, but you have to pay all the expenses, and that money is being spent on the child you don't know. So wherever such type of laws are there, those countries, it is the unfairness. And the biggest thing, no punishment for false case. When after trial it is found, the person accused you falsely. As I say, I told in the court, Young beat me. Young produced the evidence of this presentation, said, I was sitting in Malaysia, Mr. Sarkar was sitting in Delhi. How can Young beat to Mr. Sarkar? So it is a clear evidence that I lie in the court. After finding that if the court does not punish me, then more and more Swarup Sarkar will come and file the cases. But unfortunately, maximum countries does not follow punishment to the false accuser, or maybe very small, some fine or something. They don't take the false accusation as a serious crime. So these are the things when any country follow, there is the unfairness. And when the unfairness, there is the word. Injustice somewhere is a direct threat of justice everywhere. And those countries will face more and more domestic violence in their society. So what is the best scenario? A country, what type of model of laws they should follow, so that both the party, their rights of life and liberty with dignity protected irrespective of gender, caste, religion. Law should cover all genders, all ages as both victim and possible perpetrator with a domestic relationship. The word should be used person or spouse, not like man, woman, or husband, wife. No gender to be assumed to be a default protector or a default provider by the law. You have to consider both. Whoever in the domestic relationship, everybody is having the equal rights and responsibility to protect and provide for each others. Then only fairness will come. Any interim or ex parte order, if at all, first of all, it should not be, and such type of orders should not be more than 30 days at least. It is not like that you get a ex parte order and it continue. It should not be like that. Evidence Act must respect that a person is innocent till proven guilty. This is the basic of criminal justice system. If you do not follow this Evidence Act, then the injustice is going to happen. Victim to be given shelter in government shelter homes, you have to create a lot of shelter homes. So when a person is saying that I am a subject to domestic violence, take her to a safe place. But many countries, what he does, he's separate. Okay, first floor is one person will saying, second floor other person will not stay. That does not make any sense. It creates more and more litigations. And final verdict should be within 3 to 6 months, either way. If this gets more than 6 months, it became a dangerous precedent in any country. Then there is a called self-defense. Suppose somebody is beating you or trying to physically harm you, you should have right to self-defense. No? But that self-defense, it should be incorporated in the law. If somebody is attacking you, you should have a right to self-defense. Unfortunately, many countries does not have that. And as I say, strong punishment for misuse of law. Because when a person is misusing, he not only violating the fundamental life and liberty of a person's dignity, he is violating other persons also. Because a false case, all the resources has been used, which is lacking for the other victim. So this has to be taken a very, very seriously. And final compensations, normally whatever monetary compensation, it should be reasonable. It should be what you can earn in 6 months, maximum that much. It should not be what I can earn. Because compensation should be based on what you lose due to this. And what is your capability? The compensation should be calculated as per your earning capability, not to the earning capability of the other person. That is the key. But maximum countries following opposite. And that is the reason many countries facing today problem implementing domestic violence law, and it became a money earning business for the wrong people, including advocates, including NGOs. So these are my try to frame. You guys can later on discuss more also. You can frame your own way, go through different countries' law and make some research papers. Now, DB in Malaysia, as I say, the word is used person, but I don't know they really respect the word person or not when it comes to the actual. But in India, it is only for women. Even court says there is no domestic violence act for men to protect men. So in India, the situation is on the mere allegations, a man can be sent to the jail, not only men, his mother, father, sister, brother, whoever is there. All can be termed criminal. Even his brother or sister is in Malaysia, she also will be accused of the domestic violence and 498A. But whereas if a wife destroy the husband's private parts, recently has happened, one wives and their family members use the red chili rods in the anal of the husbands, still it is not considered as a domestic violence. Forget about verbal abuse, economical abuse, all these things. This extreme, heinous crime also not considered as a domestic violence, which we are trying to educate our people and educate our various people. A lot of guys want to get married in India and they don't know what is the law. And suddenly they are in soup. They outside world like Poland, Indonesia, Germany, USA, Japan, those peoples cannot believe that India does not have a domestic violence act for men. A lot of guys married Indian women, and when the disputes come, they came to know, huh? I am the victim, no recourses, and I am become criminal, and not me, my mother, father, sister, wherever country they are staying, they all became criminal. So that is the some unfairness in India is happening, which you are trying legally, socially, and lawmakers. Let's hope how to do it. Now the thing is, when such type of unfairness happen, how they create this unfairness, you have to understand. These social organizations or governments will be doing a lot of studies. During the studies, they will frame the question in such a way. They will not ask the same question to men and women. They will ask some question different to the men, some question different to the women. Like in our national health survey, they ask only 38 pages questions for men and 93 pages questions for the women. In the men, they never ask the question, have you faced the domestic violence? Have you faced the sexual violence from the woman? They never ask to the men. They ask to the woman. So create the data like that one-sided way. There was a data study was done by the Women and Child Ministry about the child sexual abuse. Where it has been found about 52% it is the boys was the sexual abuse as a child abuse. Now tell me, when a boy became 18 to 20, 21, nobody abused them. But the perception, all law, they are saying no, girl child are get abused, girl child are get abused. But the real study, it is done by the Women Ministry, shows it is the boys are getting sexually abused. There is a Hindi, I think you people will not be knowing. Our organization, when they make a study, 98% men says, yes, I had been at least faced domestic violence from female member of my family or wife, at least once, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, or economical abuse, or physical abuse. 98% men says. And there are some other studies, they even says 40% men has faced the physical abuse. Some news reports are there, like India is the world third largest country to beating their husband. But still, these are the data as not perception. Result, this is very, very dangerous and shocking. If you see 1980s onwards graph, the men woman suicide more or less same, little high, maybe 20%, 30%. 98 onwards such type of law came, and you see woman is not increasing so much, but men suicide are increasing. Now it is 2.4 times. So when you ignore the domestic violence of men or a particular gender, when you create any unfair law, a lot of people go in a hopeless situation, and that hopeless situation, some people will end their life, and some people will take some extreme step also. Everybody is not going to suicide. Somebody will take the revenge, and that destroy the harmony in a society. So when the unfair law is there, domestic harmony destroyed, and everything is destroyed. So this is the ultimate thing, is the indicators of any country's situation. That's why we tell in Article 21, live and liberty with dignity. A constitutional right of men had been snatched away by Indian lawmaker, judiciary, police, and media. Stop abuse men. I think this is applicable for not only India, a lot of countries. Maybe in your constitution it is written, maybe in your law book it is written, but practically when it comes to the implementation, that protection right has been snatched away by the police, by the judiciary, by the media, by the lawmakers. So as a citizen, if you want the gender harmony in the society, you have to stop abuse the men. You cannot expect a society with a crime-free by create the male hatred or promoting the stop abuse of men, because men are human too. With this, if any questions, I will be share, or you can share with our Twitter ID also. We'll be happy, and we always try to create the awareness among the people so that nobody take such type of extreme step. This is from my side. Anything more, you can ask me.
So I think Hanafi got questions, I guess, because he's putting his hand up.
Hello, and good afternoon.
Yes.
So Swarup, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can. Please carry on.
First of all, thank you for the detailed explanation on how men actually can be abused within the system, within the community. It is very insightful. Now, I have a question for you, Mr. Sarkar.
Yes.
This is regarding in terms of raising awareness regarding domestic violence against men. So, in my life, I have met a few people who find that these types of violence are just considered as a form of a joke, whether it is not real at all, whereas men are tough and they should not be affected by any form of abuse. So what do you think about these kind of people? Do they actually have some, mental health issues? They have some problems in terms of looking ways in life. I think it is more related to toxic masculinity. That will be the first question. And then for the second one, um, what do you think the best way to stop the cycle of domestic abuse? Because for most cases that I have known, um, most of the abuses were abused before because they come from the same cycle. And what can we do in order to prevent that? So that will be my two questions. And thank you very much, Mr. Swarup Sarkar, for willing to listen to my questions.
Okay, thank you. As I say, as the society was created, it was the man who was given the responsibility of the protector and provider. Like today's world, it is the army who is the protector and provider of my country. Now, tell me, can an army say, no, I cannot be protector and provider because I had been abused by the opposite party? The same thing was happening with the men since the centuries. There was a clear divide, what a man have to do, what a woman have to do, so that a family will be there. Their responsibility and rights was defined. Of late, it is the woman group and woman right activists or lawmakers or society. They considered whether the job was assigned to the woman, it is a oppressive, so they liberated from those jobs. Everybody put the effort to make the job woman was supposed to do should not face the hardship. You see washing machine, micro oven, pressure cooker. So whatever job was assigned to the woman, everybody put the effort to make their life better and liberate from that role, legally as well as socially. Whereas the man's original role has not been liberated. Still, man has been considered as a protector and provider. And that is the reason whenever men speak up his abuse, it's considered that an army man is crying. So that mindset has to be changed. Lot of awareness, seminars, even our volunteers stand in railway stations. Any news of the small news of a man, it will come, it will not come in a public media. Today, social media is, we take the awareness. And men have to speak up. Second question, I think what you asked actually, can you repeat?
Okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your explanation. Yes. I do agree what you have said, your answers regarding the first question. Now, moving back to the second question, how can we break the cycle of domestic abuse in terms of the abuses? Because I believe from most cases that are reported, okay, most of the abuses, they were abused before. During their childhood years, they come from the same environment.
I got it.
Okay, so how are we going to break that cycle? Yes. Okay, so that will be my second question.
First of all, men have to speak up about the domestic violence if they are facing. It's not only men, women, we say both. But the problem is for women, if you want to speak up, there are thousands of NGOs or social organizations, government helplines are available, but for men is very less. So as a man, as a social activist, we have to create more and more, at least such type of helping center. Our experience, When a man faces the domestic violence, when he speaks someone, nobody believes him. But our calls, helpline numbers or groups like that, we never judge to the men. We give a patient's hearing. If you give a patient's hearing of a man, his pain, his suffering, his low esteem, at least 90% get removed. Second thing, when a person is facing such type of abuse, you have to remove from him that place. Then you can go for counseling. We have networks. In our volunteers, you can say, when they used to come to us, they literally used to cry. I will say 90% of our volunteers were supposed to suicide. What we do? Our helpline number we just heard. Please tell me, brother. We create a brotherhood. We give them a networking platform. And after 6 months, 1 year, they go to the other country, visiting a lot of places, 10, 12, 15 boys together. So man does not know, it has been impressed in our mind that without a woman in your life, you cannot have a good life. But I have seen in Korea, those guys has make it. As a man, we can have a good, comfortable life also. In our life, opposite gender is a complementary, that is not necessary. But unfortunately, society and others make pressure for both. I am not saying only men and women. You need someone. You need someone who respects your dignity, not to abuse. That is the key we have to teach to the men, which we call men should be misgendering free. And that is the reason we say, please stop abuse men, because men are human too. If literally we do, I think it will be a great place. And of course, the law and policy, it should be gender neutral. It should be implemented gender neutrally, so that both parties feel the equal protection and equal responsibility. Then only harmony will be there. Otherwise, what will happen? One party you give the red card, other party don't have a yellow card. So they will fight. They will not follow in the rules. That is happening maximum country. Thank you. Anybody?
Okay. Thank you, sir. I think that's all for today. Thank you for coming to our event. We really appreciate your time that you gave to us. Okay.
Thank you, and give me the recordings so that we can share
yes.
all our other interns.
Sure,
And
Sure.
you
I'll send you the
kindly
recording
share.
soon.
All right, Mr. Sarkar, again, it's me, Hanafi. So thank you so much for your responses and for the insightful answers. And I do appreciate the effort that you have been doing so far regarding domestic violence against men, be it at the national or global scale. But yet, despite those efforts, I do believe it is still hard for us to break the cycle, and especially to break the stereotype that men cannot be a domestic victim, domestic abuse victims. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Sarkar.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a happy time. Okay, goodbye.